If you're watching this video, it means that your child recently took a full-length practice exam. Now, I'd like to start by taking a second to acknowledge what a challenging feat that is. For your child to be willing to come in on their own time and devote themselves to a 3-hour grueling exam is something that they should be commended for, and you should definitely recognize the effort and dedication that they're willing to put in to create a future for themselves that's exciting. These practice tests serve a variety of different purposes for us. They help students work on their test-taking skills, etc. But they also work as a diagnostic, a tool for us to diagnose their performance, where they're at, and where they can improve. And in order to fully demonstrate this point to you, I want to take you through our score reports. So you probably have in front of you a copy of your child's score report. And I'm going to take you through a random one, but the same methods of interpreting it will allow you to understand where your child's at. So the first question that you probably have is, okay, well, what's the score? So the score is found in this box over here. It says total. It's a composite score that's made up of scores on the reading section and the math section. Now, if this is your first child, or you might just not know, well, what does this score mean? So the best way to contextualize an SAT score is to look at it relative to the scores that the child will need at the colleges that they hope to be competitive for. So I posted in the email, some of the local colleges and the scores that you'll need, or, if I didn't email this to you, then look up what are the scores that they need, where do they stand, and is it realistic that they get there, and what will it take for them to get to that point? So if this student's at a 1060, then I think that it's probably realistic to say she could go up 150 to 200 points. So it would be possible for her to be scoring as high as a 1260. Now, if she wants to score in the 13s, because a certain school that she wants to go to requires that type of score, well, then that's going to be even more challenging. It's going to require dedication. So that's step one. Where am I at? Where do I need to be? How do I get there? Now, step two is, okay, well, why am I at where I'm at? And not all 1060s are the same. Some 1060s, the child's great at reading. Some he's great at math. Some it was because he had time difficulties. Others were just because they weren't able to grasp the more challenging material. So this report is designed to answer those questions and more. So as I said, the total score is made up of an evidence-based reading and writing score and a math score. This student is stronger at reading than math, not by tons, but somewhat, and we'll get into more detail there. Now, the evidence-based reading and writing score, the 550 on this report, is made up of two different scores, a reading score and a writing score. That's representative of the two sections that make up that score. Those two scores, 24 plus 31, add up to 55 or a 550. Now, these are noteworthy in this case because this student was much stronger at writing or grammar than reading comprehension. And for me, this is a good thing because that means that this child knows how to think critically about written word. Maybe there was an issue in that section, but hopefully with the right amount of tutoring and teaching, we're going to be able to get that reading score also up to maybe a 31, 32, that writing score even higher, and bring that whole score up to a 600, maybe even a 650. So that's the point there, something just that you could notice that stands out. Now, we get into analysis of each individual section. So the reading section, where she got a 24, is going to be on display here in the reading. Now, the reading section, I don't get into too many details and bore you, but it's made up of 5 different passages. Those 5 passages are listed there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This student actually, if you notice, went 0 for 11 on the 5th passage, the Science 2 passage. And what that means to me is, A, child had time issues, didn't get to that story, and I think that that's probably the prevailing theory here. You could just ask the student if that's the case. Or B, she had really a difficult time reading science-based texts. It's something that we would probably discuss in our lessons. The other tags are all, really test-specific terms, but they're ways that we're going to help train your child to attack the various different question types. On to the next section is the grammar section. What we did here is we have each question type categorized in alignment with our curriculum. So all the ones that have a 1 next to it symbolize questions on lesson 1. All the ones with a 2, questions on lesson 2, lesson 3, 4, and so on. And you could easily pinpoint where is it that the issue lies. And then you could dive into working through the curriculums to remedy that kind of issue. This student actually did fantastic on grammar. Lesson 4 was the area where she was weakest. 8 for 3 on lesson 4. So you go into the curriculum and you notice it's mostly transitional words. Here are the questions that she got wrong on that transitional words tag. We're going to obviously go into those and review them and so on. And with math, very similar. We rank the questions by levels so that we could figure out, you know, this student actually didn't do great on level 1 questions. Maybe that's some low-hanging fruit. And then really had no chance on the harder questions. Again, something that we'd look into. And then again, by lesson, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and so on. Lesson 3 stands out as being a struggle for this particular student. 1 for 4 on polynomial questions, you know, 1 for 3 on system of equation questions. These are all teachable skills. And the tutor is really going to use this report to dive deep into their score and understand precisely where they're at. Now, once a child has taken a certain number of assessments, then we're going to start to be able to track progress. And we'll see their progress in reading and math, their total progress. And then there'll be a chart like this to really show us their improvement in each section, their total improvement. That's a pretty dramatic improvement, etc. So this is where we're at. The child's going to come in, take a bunch of assessments. It's something that they should be commended for, and that they should be complimented for, that they should be supported. It's a big step that they're taking. This is the first in a series of hoops that they're going to need to jump through, but that is ultimately going to impact the college that they end up in, the future that they have. It's an exciting moment, and I'm really glad to be a part of it.